Iran's supreme leader breaks his silence. This time, basically, we're talking about a fiery speech that has shocked the entire region. Iran? Well, they paused today. Millions watched as Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, delivered one of his most forceful speeches this year. A speech filled with warnings, filled with claims, and his version of the regional picture. You're watching TimesXP. I am Dhriti Yatri, and whether one agrees with him or not, this address is already making headlines across the world. So let's break this down calmly, neutrally, and very clearly. Iran stands. They said that we won. That's right. Khamenei opened with a strong declaration. Iran, according to him, does not see the United States as a trustworthy partner, not because of ideology, but because of what he described as years of tense interaction and conflicting interests. He said Iran prefers strategic independence and will not enter any engagement that he believes would weaken the country's sovereignty. The resistance, that's the Iran's version of global moment here. He then spoke about what Iran calls the resistance moment. Khamenei framed it as a political and social trend, not just in the Middle East, but increasingly visible in Western cities, where crowds have shown support for Gaza. His message was very simple, very blunt. Iran sees this as a generational shift and a sign that global public opinion is actually changing now. This is Iran's perspective, even if different countries interpret it differently. Now let's talk about the 12-day conflict. Iran's take on the outcome, it is very different from the US and Israel. Khamenei's most dramatic line came when he described the recent 12-day conflict involving Israel, regional groups, and the US forces. He presented the Iranian view, the view that the confrontation did not weaken Iran and did not achieve the goals of its rivals. He claimed that Iran's adversaries, they expected unrest inside the country, but instead, he said Iranians showed unity, even though those are normally critical of the government. This was his narrative, reflecting how Iran, they can really sugarcoat their own defeat. Iran stood firm. That's another claim from Khamenei here. Khamenei emphasized that Iran demonstrated quick decision-making and strong military capabilities. He said Iran remained calm, acted with precision, and sent a message that it could protect itself from any regional pressure. Again, this is Iran's position, not an independent assessment. Even though Iran's most sensitive nuclear sites, they were destroyed by Israeli strikes, be it Natanz, be it Isfahan, be it Fordo, everything was destroyed. But look at the positivity of Iran here. In fact, in Khamenei's speech, he talked about American military involvement and global policies. But in Iran's diplomatic vocabulary, he argued that the big powers, including the US, they often act based on their strategic interests and not always in the line with international exceptions. This part was delivered in a political tone and not as a personal attack on the American people or Israeli citizens. Now, about Israel, of course, a political criticism. Everybody would be expecting that from Khamenei. He criticized Israel's government and its military operations, but framed it strictly as Iran's political view of how conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon have unfolded. He repeatedly separated political criticism from people, focusing only on governments and decisions, not communities here. This makes the speech strong, but still within the boundaries of diplomacy. Then another bomb, no secret talks with the US. Yes, that's one of his most important clarifications. Khamenei denied rumors that Iran sent indirect messages to Washington through any third country. He said that these stories are false, saying that Iran has no hidden communication inside official channels. Now here's the final take. Iran wants distance, not drama. He closed with just one message. Iran is willing to stand on its own, make independent decisions, and engage only when it believes the conditions are fair and respectful. It was a forceful speech, by the way, but still within Iran's familiar foreign policy position. In the end, what happened in that 12-day war, the world knows it.